I'm Eleanor. I'm 85 years old, and I need you to hear what I'm about to say because it might change the way you think about love, or at least save you some years of heartache. Not because my story is dramatic, not because it's scandalous, but because it's ordinary, and that's exactly why it matters. I've lived most of my life in the suburbs of Ohio, raised my children, watched decades pass, and experienced enough heartbreak and joy to know one thing for certain. Love is nothing like you're told in movies. It's quieter, slower, harder, and yet it's more powerful than you could imagine when it's real. I was 22 when I married Thomas. He was a bright-eyed accountant, working long hours at a firm in Cleveland, and I was a school teacher, full of ideals about life and partnership. On paper, everything looked perfect. We had steady jobs, an apartment that we slowly filled with our first furniture, and we were madly in love, or so I thought. The first few years were blissful. We went on weekend drives, shared meals, laughed at the silliest jokes, and held hands at the movies. But slowly, almost imperceptibly, something changed. We became busy. Responsibilities piled up. We got caught in the rhythm of life. Work, bills, school, errands. The small, tender moments, the ones that actually keep love alive, started to vanish. I remember one afternoon when our daughter Margaret was just 3, sitting on the living room floor surrounded by blocks, watching me from across the room. I realized that Thomas hadn't held my hand in months. Not in anger, not in disinterest, just in forgetfulness, in the quiet erosion of routine. And I hadn't noticed until that moment. I felt a pang in my chest, one I couldn't ignore. Love, I realized, isn't just passion or romance. It's the small, everyday acts. It's the morning coffee made without asking, the shoulder rubbed when someone's tired, the quiet acknowledgement of presence. And when those little gestures disappear, it doesn't matter how good the rest looks on paper, the feeling, the actual heartbeat of love starts to fade. I spent decades chasing a version of love that didn't exist anymore. I thought staying together, keeping our family intact, was the right thing, and it was, in a way. We were both committed parents, we provided security, and there was respect, but respect without intimacy, without warmth, without shared vulnerability. It's hollow. It feels safe, but it's not love. I wish someone had told me this earlier. I wish someone had said, Eleanor, love isn't just about not hurting each other. It's about wanting to be near each other. It's about delighting in the other person, even in small ways. I wish I had known that love is not static. It grows, it evolves, and sometimes it disappears. And when it disappears, the brave thing to do isn't always to cling to it. Sometimes the brave thing is to let go, even if letting go feels impossible. After 30 years of marriage, Thomas and I separated. It was quiet, it was civil, it was sad, but it was necessary. There was no shouting, no betrayal, no scandal, just the slow realization that we were happier apart than we had been together for a long time. And oddly enough, letting go taught me more about love than staying had ever done. I started to see things clearly. I saw that love doesn't mean never feeling lonely. It doesn't mean never feeling misunderstood. It doesn't mean someone is always going to meet your needs. Love is a choice, every single day, to see someone fully and to be seen fully in return. And when that choice is no longer mutual, it doesn't mean failure. It just means the love has changed. One of the hardest lessons I've learned is that love can't be forced. You can't make someone feel the way you want them to feel. You can't manufacture intimacy with effort alone. You can nurture it, you can protect it, you can tend to it, but it's not guaranteed. And sometimes the hardest part is realizing that the person you thought was your forever isn't. I met Harold 5 years after my divorce. He was a widower from Cincinnati, quiet and patient, with laugh lines that made me feel like he'd already seen the best and worst of life. Our connection wasn't instant fireworks. It wasn't a whirlwind romance. It was slow, gentle. It was dinners where we lingered over conversation, walks where we talked about nothing and everything, nights where just sitting next to each other felt comforting. That's love I never understood when I was younger. The kind that grows steady, almost unnoticed, until one day you realize you can't imagine life without it. I wish someone had told me decades ago that real love doesn't always look like a movie. It's not about grand gestures, constant passion, or dramatic declarations. It's about consistency, attentiveness, and choosing each other over and over again, even when it's hard. It's about being present even when life is exhausting. And importantly, it's about understanding that loving yourself first is not selfish, it's essential. Looking back, I see how much time I spent compromising my own happiness for the idea of love. I stayed in relationships that were comfortable, convenient, or expected, and I told myself that stability was enough. I missed the moments that actually mattered because I thought love was only about the big things, but it's the small things, the soft touches, the shared laughter, the quiet presence that are the heart of love. I've watched my friends, my children, even my grandchildren, fall into the same patterns I did. They chase idealized versions of love, expecting constant excitement, romance, and perfection. And when the reality doesn't match, they either leave too soon or stay too long. I want them to know it's okay to want more. It's okay to recognize that something isn't right, even if it looks fine from the outside. Your feelings are valid. Your longing for connection is valid, and you deserve to experience it fully, not half-heartedly. I also want to say something about mistakes. I made plenty. I married too young, stayed too long in relationships that were stale, misunderstood the signals of my own heart. But I don't regret them, not truly. Every mistake taught me something about myself, about patience, about boundaries, about what matters. They taught me that love is as much about learning who you are as it is about finding the right person. One lesson I learned the hard way is that timing is everything. I rushed love when I was younger. I assumed I had to have everything figured out by a certain age, but real love has its own clock. It comes when it's ready, and it finds you when you've learned enough to appreciate it. That doesn't mean waiting passively. It means living fully, being open to growth, and being honest with yourself and others about what you need and want. Another thing I wish I had known sooner is that love requires courage, not the dramatic movie-style courage, but the quiet, everyday courage to be vulnerable, to speak honestly, to admit when something hurts, and to leave situations that no longer serve you. It takes courage to forgive, to stay, and to let go. All of these acts are love too. And finally, I want to share what I know now. Love is limitless. It doesn't run out. It doesn't disappear when one relationship ends. You can love fully again, even after heartbreak, even after decades of disappointment. You can experience joy, intimacy, and connection at any age. And when you do, it feels brighter, steadier, and more meaningful than anything you imagined when you were younger. I often think about my younger self, the Eleanor who married Thomas at 22. I wish I could sit her down and tell her, "You'll learn, you'll make mistakes, but you'll also discover the depth of love that doesn't fade with time. You'll understand that intimacy isn't about grand declarations, but about presence, patience, and shared understanding. And one day you'll find someone who cherishes you in the quiet, everyday ways that actually matter. If you're watching this and you're wondering whether love will ever feel real for you, I want you to hear this. It will. Maybe not the way you expect, maybe not when you expect, maybe not with the person you think should be your forever. But love has a way of finding those who are willing to be brave, patient, and honest. Love finds those who are willing to grow, to forgive, and to open themselves fully to life. So if there's one thing I could pass on to you from 85 years of living, it's this. Don't settle for a version of love that feels empty or hollow. Don't wait for a catastrophe or a dramatic betrayal to justify leaving a relationship. Pay attention to the small moments, the quiet gestures, the shared laughter and touch. Listen to your heart, value your happiness, love yourself enough to recognize when love isn't enough, and have the courage to step into the life you deserve. And when the right love comes along, the love that is steady, kind, and nurturing, hold on to it with all you have. Cherish it, protect it, and know that every mistake, every heartbreak, every lonely year was preparing you to recognize it when it arrives. I've been given a gift in my later years, the gift of knowing what love truly feels like, the joy of being seen fully, and the freedom to choose connection every single day. I've watched my friends and family experience similar awakenings, and I see how much difference it makes in their lives too. Love is not just a feeling, it's a way of living, and it's never too late to live it fully. Thank you for letting me share this with you. If any part of my story resonated with you, or if you've learned lessons about love that you wish you could share with someone else, I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and tell me what you're thinking. And if you want to hear more stories like this, stories about real life, real love, and real lessons, subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. There are more stories coming, and your story might be the next one we share, because the truth is, no matter your age, your mistakes, or your heartbreaks, your story matters, and the lessons you learn about love when shared have the power to guide someone else, even if it's decades down the line.